folks, McSquirgle here. Today we're taking a look at the Civivi Clingman. I bought this knife because I really like the design. It sort of has this traditional sort of clip point, kind of reminiscent of something like a Buck 112. I thought it kind of had a classic look to it, and it just interested me. And this very sweet hollow grind, by the way, that I very much like. It's a very steep hollow grind, comes to a very thin edge. It's one of my favorite parts of the knife. But, you know, I also have a habit of buying the knives that, you know, my favorite knife internet personalities seem to come out with, like this from David C. Anderson here. This is the CJRB Maximal, designed by David C. Anderson. Another, you know, knife tube personality, much like the Clingman, because the Clingman is from Best Damn EDC, designed by the gentleman at Best Damn EDC. Oh, and, you know, also stuff like, say, the NAF's Lulu here from Ben Peterson, another knife tube internet personality knife, folding knife, I guess. So I have sort of a habit of being interested in those knives that come from those types of people that are in the knife community. Let's do some specs here. Let's get those out of the way. So the Clingman has about a 3-inch blade with about a 2.75-inch cutting edge, 2 3/4 inches of cutting edge. It is about 7 inches long from tip to tail. Let's put it on a scale here, see how much it weighs. .8 ounces. Let's compare that to, say, the Buck 112 TRX. 2.8 ounces. So they both weigh about the same. Just for reference here, the 112 TRX is slightly larger than the Clingman, but has about a 3-inch blade with a 2.75-inch cutting edge. So the blade is almost exactly as long, but the handle is just slightly longer at just over 7 inches from tip to tail. I really like comparing these two knives, by the way, the 112 TRX and the Clingman. They just sort of give me the same sort of they scratch the same itch for me, if you will. They're both, you know, hollow ground clip point blades, very traditional, very classy looking knives. It's just, you know, the Buck 112 is a lockback mechanism, and the Clingman is a liner lock. Dual-sided thumb studs and a front flipper on the Clingman. The front flipper works well. Lock bar access is not excellent, but it is totally accessible. Just sort of have to push your thumb in between the liners and then push down, and you'll be able to access it. I would prefer it if there was just a little bit more of a cutout on the show side scale here, so that we could get at that liner a little easier. But, you know, I'm not a designer. Who knows if that would actually work. Let's compare this to another liner lock. This liner is, it's sort of, how do you say it? It is, this liner is nested in the micarta scales here, but it's slightly better access here. You can sort of see it, sort of see how you can see the liner lock access a little better than you can on, say, the Civivi Clingman here. Here's another one. How about my Spyderco Astute? Very good access on this, or at least relatively good access compared to both the Clingman and the NAF's Lulu there. You can find the liner very easily, relatively. You can sort of, there's a cutout here so that you can get to the liner more easily. This is my favorite budget knife, by the way, the Spyderco Astute. The Civivi Clingman comes in this Civivi box here, and inside the box is the zipper pouch. I like the Civivi zipper pouch. I'm glad that Civivi's come with this. I think a lot of people sort of think it's wasteful, and I get that. Most people probably just throw this in a drawer or something like that and forget all about it. But I actually use these things. If I ever, sell a knife or something like that, oftentimes I'll throw it in a Civivi pouch for shipping, just to keep it safe and secure. So I like having this stuff around. And yeah, of course, microfiber cloths, I use those for wiping down blades and stuff like that, keep them looking nice. So I appreciate that Civivi does the zipper pouch thing. Doesn't bother me at all. Although I do hear that other people would rather not have it for some reason or other, because it's wasteful, I suppose. This version of the Clingman that I have here is the Burgundy G10 with the black finished Nitro V blade. Nitro V is supposed to be sort of similar to 14C28N. It's an ingot formed steel, a steel that it's stainless, and it's a steel that has pretty fine grain structure relatively, so you can get very keen edges with it. It's not particularly high edge retention stuff, not very high performing as far as wear resistance, but the toughness is good, the sharpenability is very good, and the edge retention is good enough for most use cases. So I don't mind that it comes with Nitro V at all. We have Torx construction here. Very, very cool, very cool. Interestingly, we have, I believe it's T8 construction all the way around. So a T8 pivot, a T8 body screw here, and two T8 screws for the titanium pocket clip. Very cool that a Civivi knife at this price point comes with a titanium pocket clip. The clip works well. Good retention. It's actually very solid. It very likely won't be falling out of your pocket with the amount of retention that is on this clip. Full steel liners. You get the full exposed steel liners here, so not nested. Everything's rounded off. There's really no sharp edges to speak of here. Nothing that no sharp edges. You could say it's all chamfered and softened very nicely, very well finished. Civivi makes some pretty sharp knives, sharp looking, I should say, but also sharp edges. Civivi has some of the best stock edges in the industry. They are finished really well, and in particular, this knife, it's very even from the heel to the tip here. You can see it's all very consistent, and then you check the other side, and you see that it is the same on the other side. So it's not, how would you say, one side would have a larger bevel than the other, like you get on some knives. Spyderco does that a lot. Just some companies pay less attention to that than others. Civivi always seems to get that perfectly. Very good edges out of the box from Civivi. It's a very good looking knife. Let's talk about some negatives here, I guess. My first impression of the knife when I took this out of the box is that it's a little small in my hand. It's kind of got a prescriptive sort of grip. I mean, not too prescriptive, I would say, But the shape of the handle is here, it sort of seems to indicate that, 2 fingers should go here, and then the other 2 should go back here. But when I do that, I really end up with my middle finger sort of right on this hump here. I guess, maybe this knife just isn't meant for my hand. It's meant for a hand just slightly smaller than my own. When you compare that to something like, say, the 112 TRX here, it's not prescriptive at all. It's very neutral. You can put your fingers anywhere, and it's comfortable anywhere that you put your fingers. So, not a perfect ergonomic experience for me. It might be better for you, for a person with, smaller hands than I. I wear a large size glove. You compare that to, say, the Lander, this is the Lulu. No, this is the Lander. I'm sorry, it is the Lander. Whoops, I have a Lulu here, so I got confused. But so the Lander is also very neutral handle. It's a smaller handle than the Clingman, as you can see, but somehow it ends up being more comfortable because of the subtle contouring and because of the neutrality of the handle. I don't feel like my fingers are prescribed to be anywhere, and there's no hot spots, no humps that could dig into your fingers as you're holding it. So the Lander ends up being a more comfortable knife in my hand, even though it's smaller than the Clingman. It ends up being more comfortable in my hand than the Clingman for that reason. So all that said, those are my negatives of the knife. Well, my one negative, I'll say. It's just not super comfortable in my hand. It may be more comfortable in yours. All that said, I'm going to keep the knife. I think it's gorgeous. I really, really like this very steep hollow grind. That's what you get a knife like this for. Is for you buy this knife for the blade, really, because you like this classy, very, very pointy clip point shape with the hollow grind, of course. I believe these go for about $69 last I checked. Let me check one more time, actually. Hang on. Okay, yeah. So I checked the prices. It's currently $65.99 or so about $66 from most of the retailers that you could buy this knife from, like Blade HQ, Knife Center, DLT, so on. Actually, I don't know if it's at DLT, but for sure it's at Blade HQ and Knife Center. $66 or so. That's a decent price. The price is probably likely more than it would have been if they had went with a steel pocket clip instead of this titanium clip here. But that's part of what makes this knife unique. If you like this knife, if this design speaks to you, I say get it. Hopefully it fits your hand better than mine. If you have, slightly smaller than large size glove hands, then it'll likely fit your hand better than mine. All that said, if you could spare a few more bucks, I'd say maybe go for the Buck 112 TRX instead, for a couple reasons. With the Buck 112 TRX, you get the hollow grind, a very good hollow grind, with S30V, Boss Heat Treated S30V. So it's very well done S30V. And, last I checked, these knives were only about $20 more or so than the Clingman. And it's a USA-made knife with G10 construction, Torx construction, just like the Clingman here. The only thing is you don't get steel liners with this. It is linerless. There are no liners on the Buck 112 TRX. But that saves some weight. It keeps some of the weight down. You get the dual-sided thumb studs, good traditional classy clip point blade with a deep carry pocket clip, so not a titanium pocket clip. But overall, if I was looking at both of these knives, you know, today, if I was going to buy one of them and I couldn't decide which one, I would probably, you know, try to push that person towards the 112 TRX, especially because I think they're discontinued now. So, you know, wherever you can find them, it'll be your last chance to get them pretty soon here, because they'll be gone soon enough, and then they won't exist anymore after that. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I think it's a very classy, very cool design. Love the blade, love the aesthetics. You know, not perfect for my hand, I'll say, but the materials are there. The finishing is very good. You know, just I wish maybe less prescriptive of a grip here. Other than that, very well done, very well made. Another good one from Civivi. I guess I'll stop there. Thanks for watching.